Welcome back, everyone. This is part two. So, if you have not covered part one, you will miss the stuff. So, I recommend you to first complete that. Now, to start with part two, in part one, we already have understood that how to create the different field in the table, and these are all fields came from the leave management system. Now, to start with the new one, we need to create one more field. Basically, that's for the changing the status of the leave. We want to create one field called uh, status. Let's create one field with the name status of type choice that will contain a field like again drop down without null, and we'll have an option called applied and approved, right, and rejected. So we'll have three status. Let us click on done, and we'll keep a default value as applied. Why? Because if, oh, not for this one, sorry, status, we want to create a default value as applied. So once users submit the leave, by default, it will store value as applied. Now our table is ready. So we have understood the data as well as our experience, but we have not yet discovered the logic in automation. And this is the brain of ServiceNow. Believe me, if ServiceNow is ServiceNow, mainly because of the its flow designer, or it can you can say as a workflow, right? So we have to create one flow in such a way that whenever an employee apply for a leave, manager automatically should get one approval. As well, when manager approve the record, approve the leave, your leave will be approved. In the table you will have a status called approved. If manager rejected, the status should be changed to rejected. We want that to be automatically happen. We don't want any manual kind of trigger to get it done, right? So whenever a record is getting inserted into the leave management table, automatically approval should be sent to manager, and manager should able to approve or reject. And as per the action, the record should get updated. So let's create logic and automation. So that's the flow we'll go through. So we'll create a flow from scratch. We are not going to start anything. So if you see, build from scratch. In this flow, always remember there are three sections into it. First, let's put the name as a leave approval process. I want to have this as a flow and click on continue. In this flow, uh, the first part is called a trigger, right? So when you create a flow designer, we have a leave approval process. Okay, so one more thing. So I don't want you to design the flow from this window. Why? Because it's always a tough task because UI is not be fully supporting here. So we'll go to a module called flow designer, right? And the name of our flow is leave approval process. So let's come to and if you go as a flow designer, we should see a option called leave approval process. So you see this flow is ready now. It is in draft. We have not published it. So flow is, as I told you, it's very uh, the bread and butter part of service now. It is also it also supports some coding, but mostly it's a low code kind of framework which integrates all the module of service now. So first of all, we'll add to click on edit flow. We'll add a trigger. So when you want this flow to be triggered, you want this flow to be triggered based on the record inserted or created in the table called our leave management table. So we have to choose the table called leave management x underscore. We have a table called so leave management table, right? So if you forward that name, our table is not but leave management table. So if you search, you should show actually leave management table system, right? This is our table. Now, whenever record is inserted, we want this to be triggered. So our trigger is ready. Click on done. So what we want, so based on the record insertion, we want, we should be asking for approval to manager. So there is a action called ask for approval, right? So let us click on that, ask for approval. So based on which trigger? This trigger. And for this trigger, we want to ask for approval. So we have to give the record. Which record? So the record that we inserted. So for this record, we want to have, so this is called pill actually. We can select any pill that came before this particular step. So that's why we choose this particular pill in the record. Now, reason not required to mention here. Approval field is all those good. Now the rule matters. So what we want is approve when, choose the rule when anyone approves. Which anyone? We want manager of that employee only. So we should choose the data field again. Record, which record? Leave management table. We have how to go to manager of that record. So in the table, we'll have a employee that is referenced in sys user table. From that employee, we should be choosing the manager. So that is our approval. So if this person approves, right? If, so this is our rule. Okay. So approval record for manager is created. Now we want to have flow logic. If approved, then what? And if reject, then what? So we want to create, okay, not the if. Let's see. So we'll add flow logic. So let us understand all this. We are for our case, if is only good. So if uh, our pill should be asked for approval. If asked for approval, approval state is approved. If the state of that approval state is approved, then you can do, if it is approved, you see that if it is also having then part, then what we want? We want the record in that table. So we have a record update. So in that table, whatever record we have, we want to update it to approved. So update record should be a action. Update. So if you see ServiceNow core, update record. So update record, which record you want to update? The same record, so this is for scripting basically, so we should use this pill icon. So this record is having a field called status. We want that status to be changed to approved status. Okay, so this record, this table, and we want in this table a status field should be changed to approved. So if we ask, when the record get inserted, we ask for approval. When approval is recorded approved, we want to change the status to approved. That is our term. And then we also have to add flow logic. Okay, that is done, I guess. If it is approved, then approved. And let's close the flow. So we don't require anything else, right? Close the flow. So we should have a closed flow. Think we don't require anything, then not subflow, flow logic, end flow, yeah, end flow, that's all. So if the approval is approved, then end flow. If we also need, right, if it is not approved, else if, else if rejected, right? Else if the record ask for approval state is rejected or ask for approval record is cancelled. It can be rejected or cancelled also. If it is rejected or cancelled, we want we want action update record. I would recommend to if you face problem, just traverse this part again and again, but do it once, okay, by yourself. So we want that this particular record, leave management record, status field should be rejected. Rejected, right? Done. And also we want to end flow. All right, flow is ready. So first, when the record is created, we want to ask for approval. If approval is approved, record should be approved. If it is rejected, record should be getting rejected. So we have to activate this, right? So your leave is activated. Sorry, your flow is activated. All right. Now the flow to get the flow to work, what we need is we need to have two user to test, right? One is employee, other one is the manager. So let's create two user. Basically, all the user will be in the table called sys user table, right? So let's create two record. One is for the employee. So we can put as a test employee, right? And name it as a test employee, right? All right. So what role we should give? We should give a role called employee role. Means this person will be able to submit the. So this is my user. I have to edit the role, and role should be for the employee under this one. Employee role. That's all. Now we need to create one more thing called manager. Update the record. We'll create one more user called test manager. Name it as a test. All right. Let's save this. The role will be for manager for sure. And we are adding a role called manager. One more thing we have to give because manager is also approval. So as per ServiceNow framework, we should also add a role called approvers. Then only they will be able to approve any record. So approval user, right? So we have done it. So we have two user created now. All right. And one more thing we are missing. So for the user that we have test, we need to add this person as a manager to this person. So for that, let's have one field in the list view manager, and let's add test manager as a manager to test employee. Test manager. All right. All configurations are done. So now if I say we have the all ready, everything is perfectly work. So now let's just we have to test it that when apply for a leave, manager get the approval record, and once they approve, it goes to approve the state. So for that, in ServiceNow, if you want to perform certain action as particular user, we can do that by doing the impersonation. Let's use as our employee record. So we have a test employee, right? So we'll impersonate as a test employee as same as you are logging to the system as a not as an admin. Now I'm going to service portal. In this portal, we should see one record producer, right? Apply leave. Let's go to catalog. If you remember that we have apply leave here, we searched and it came, right? In the first part of so apply leave came. So now employee is applying a leave. So see, automatically this came for test employee whom they are applying for, right? You didn't fill it. Now the let's put it as date as this, and let's put this date as 24. Type of leave, let's make it personal only. Testing the flow. All right. So I submit. So I submitted the uh, leave, and that's all. So I'm not using again test imply. Now I want to see a manager. I will log in as a manager now. And we'll see that in real time it will be different. Manager will have different system, and they will be accessing the instance from different system. However, for demoing this, we'll log in as a manager now. Test manager. I did that. Manager will come here and will search for my approval. So this is keep on coming. I'll search for my approval. I'm logging as a manager now. So if you search for my approval, see you got a record automatically came. Who did that? This came because of the flow designer. So we'll open the manager will open the record, right? It will approve. So manager has approved the leave. Now again, okay, so imply leave is approved now. We did not create any interface to show what is the state of the leave to imply. However, if I go to the record in our table, leave approval table, that we can see all the record in this table, system uh, definition. If you go to table, we have something called leave management, right? So if I go to that, the record should automatically be changed to approved for the test employee. If I go to leave management, we have a list view, and if you add the who did, we add some column called imply, and also we'll see the status of my leave. We'll add this field. We'll remove this task type, sort description. This came from task table, so we don't need all these state. What we need is the start date when this employee has requested the leave, the start date, end date. We need region, right? So all these we will add it. Let us see. So if you see the test imply leave is approved. So all these happened automatically because of the flow designer and all these. Okay, we need to add lot of more thing to it, like how employee can see their own status of leave and all this in portal. We'll talk about that. Also, some concern like how HR admin can add the leave and deduct the balance. That will be covering as part of next part for these three. But we able to achieve end-to-end flow with the leave management system where employee has applied the leave and automatically approval process went to the manager, and manager got approval record and manager approved the record, the leave status become approved. So that's all for today and for this session. Thank you, everyone.